This is an incredible story. You've got the grey aliens, the craft described as exactly like the crafts seen at Roswell, Aztec, Kingman and other crashes, like the crafts described by Bob Lazar, with no bolts, rivets or screws, the blue light on the bottom associated with the alleged magnetic field technology, the discharge. Many, because of all this, claim Walton is credible and legit. After all, don't 6 witnesses back him up, all telling similar stories? Normally I would agree, but the credibility of the witnesses is the thing here. A few years earlier, Walton and Charles Rogers pleaded guilty to first-degree burglary and forgery charges in May 71. Rogers, present at the alleged abduction, the younger brother of Michael Rogers, the leader of the forestry team, as well as being Walton's future brother-in-law, had worked with Travis in breaking into the offices of a moulding company, stealing their payroll checks and cashing them to make money for themselves. They were allowed to plead guilty, make restitution and retract their pleas, so they, as young people, could have a clean record, since they were under 18, but this to me is very, very indicative. If they were lying about this, what else could they be lying about? Friends also claimed Walton was completely obsessed with UFOs, that he always had been, loved talking about them all his life. So is it really too hard to believe that this seemingly compulsive liar could have lied again? A lie that would profit him and fulfill his fantasies? Furthermore, the others also had incentive to lie. Rogers had heavily underbid their forestry contract with the US Forestry Service to thin the local trees, and they were heavily behind too. Because of how behind they were, out of every $27 they were making, they were charged a $1 penalty per acre, with the completion deadline being November 10. Failure to complete the job could not only lead to a $2,500 penalty, but a complete disqualification from bidding on future Forestry Service contracts. In addition, winter was approaching, and at this rate they'd have to wait until spring to complete the contract. So not only did they risk losing all their money, but much of it, up to 10%, was also frozen, so they'd risk losing the lot. On October 10, Rogers had called in and reported they'd be unable to complete the work on time. Isn't that interesting? A friend group obsessed over talking about UFOs, and then they claimed this happened? Furthermore, the reactions of the family members of Travis Walton were also odd. His mother went on the search party for him, but remarked with a shrug, "I don't think there's any use looking further," and gave up. His brother was similarly nonchalant, remarking with a shrug that UFOs always bring the victims back to the same spot. And Philip J. Klass, usually an unreliable source because of his bias against the paranormal, even claims in his research that Travis told his mother not to worry if he were ever abducted by aliens, because he would return safe and sound. How coincidental. How very, very coincidental. How coincidental that Travis, by all accounts a man caring for his mother, told her that he would be missing a while due to aliens and not to worry, and then he, just happens to be abducted by aliens just at that very same time.